Hey guys, Joe from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, March 7th, 2014. Today we're going to be talking about blocking bidders on eBay, the pros and the cons. And I have a rather important point I want to bring up about that, but first, let's do what we always do, and let's do a little rehash of last week's video and some current events and some stories. Okay, before we get started with the eBay, let me tell you my little story of the week, if I may, because it's something that's concerned me for a long time. It's not eBay related, but it's a public service, and it's something that's happened to me many times. You wouldn't believe it. More times than you would think, and I bet it's happened to a lot of you, and I'd like to hear your stories. Very quickly, last Sunday, early in the morning, around maybe 7:15, 7:30, I was driving on the Major Deegan, heading to the diner. Because every Sunday, I have breakfast with some friends of mine at the same time. We've been doing this for many years. So I was on the Deegan, heading southbound Sunday morning. I'm in the middle lane, and I've got a guy on my right, a little bit behind me, and I've got a guy on my left, a little bit behind me. So as we go southbound around the curve by Fordham Road, I'm the lead car, and as I come around the blind curve, all of a sudden there's a Ford Explorer in the middle lane coming at me full speed, going the wrong way on the highway. There is nothing that will scare a person as much as that, and it's happened to me many times. I know how this guy did it. He must have been drunk out of his mind, or he must have been high on some kind of drug. What he did was he got on at Fordham Road going the wrong way. He got on the off ramp and came charging up, jumped into the middle lane, and he was tooling along. Luckily, I spotted him coming. I swerved into the left lane, all right, to avoid a head-on crash. I look in my mirror and I see him cut the wheel all the way to his left, which would be to my right. So now he's broadside on the highway. The guy behind me to the left, he got through. The guy behind me to the right didn't. I really don't know what the aftermath was, but I think the guy was able to stop in time. My point being, when those bars close, or really early in the morning on the weekend, is the worst time for these guys that are driving the wrong way on the interstates. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen personally. When I've been there, they've been coming at me. One time was fatal. I'm not going to discuss that in this video. I think that's something I should discuss on my other channel. But I just wanted to put that out there in case any of you guys have ever had that. Maybe you want to share your stories. All right, eBay. Last week, I showed you one of my auctions, and I asked you what your opinion was with these people that will buy one item and think they're getting all four. It happens constantly to me. It happened again this week since we last talked. All right? I would say 90% of you guys who looked at the auction said, Joe, there is no reason for anyone to confuse this with getting four. A couple of people said that the fact that I had the stacks in the background might have confused someone, but the reason I sometimes take pictures with the stacks, with my racks in the background, is because a lot of times people will look at the hubcap I'm selling and they won't want that, but they'll see that I have so many in the background, they'll write to me and say, Joe, do you by any chance have one for, let's say a 1990 Ford? And if you do, would you list it? So if I have that, I will list it for them and I'll make a sale. That's the reason why I like to put the racks in the background from time to time. But I don't do it in every auction. And basically, thank you for all the views. I got a lot of views on last week's video, a lot of good comments, and that's what I like. We're helping each other, we're selling stuff on eBay, and we're making money. Did you guys have a good eBay week? I had a very good one myself. If every eBay week was like this, you'd never hear me complain about sales. And quite frankly, I don't really complain about sales that much on eBay. I have to be honest. I do pretty well. It's pretty consistent, except for that one blip last year with the Cassini search engine problem. Let's move on now to the main topic of today's video, because it's really important. It has to do with blocking what I would call, or what you would call, troublesome eBayers. Now, to set the stage for this, let me explain something. I've talked about this before. I am a member of some Facebook groups, and those groups consist of people like us, dedicated eBay sellers. But in addition to us, some of the group members are people that work for eBay and or PayPal. Everybody is friendly with everybody. It's not an adversarial atmosphere. Nobody is mean to anybody. Everybody is entitled to their opinion and is respectful to each other. And it's good because a lot of times a problem will come up, or a situation where you'll get your sellers giving their viewpoints, and you'll get people from eBay and or PayPal giving their viewpoints. And that's what happened this week. A very interesting situation occurred. I want to relate it to you. I was in Cindy's Facebook group, and a seller wrote in a story, a true story that happened to him. Basically, I'm just glancing at my notes here, forgive me. The seller got an email from his buyer. What happened was he sold something to this person, and for whatever reason, the person didn't like it and wanted their money back. The seller agreed. The seller went ahead and gave him a refund through PayPal, but for some reason, maybe there was a delay in the buyer receiving it, because when the buyer checked his PayPal, he hadn't gotten his refund. So he basically wrote to the seller and said that he didn't get his refund as promised, he was done waiting, and that if he didn't get his refund that day, he would do everything in his power to get this seller kicked off eBay. Now that is a serious threat, I think, especially considering the person did give him the refund. So about an hour or two later, the seller gets another email from this buyer and says, I just checked my PayPal account and the refund has in fact arrived. I was very nervous because I didn't get my refund, but I did get it now, so thank you. The deal is over. I'm going to leave you positive feedback. So the seller related this story to our group and said, I am so glad this deal is over with. I went ahead and blocked this guy so he can never do this to me again or threaten me. So people started commenting, relating their experiences. And one of the eBay members wrote in, and he said, why did you block this guy? True, the guy was very nervous and concerned he didn't get his refund. But once he did get his refund, he knew that you, meaning the guy that wrote in this story, he knew that you were an honest seller and meant him no harm. There is no reason for anyone to ever block an eBay bidder. This is the eBay employee talking, not me. He said, and he's serious. He said, in my opinion, there is no reason to block anybody. In fact, there is talk. Now, everybody, please don't freak out about this. I'm just relating what I heard through the grapevine. Sit down. Don't run for the fire exits yet. There's talk about eBay doing away with the block bidder list. Ugh, I know. I'm concerned. Let's talk this out. Let me tell you what I've come up with. It's just talk at this point. It may not even happen, and I, for one, hope it doesn't happen. a whole lot of us began writing in on this thread expressing our concern. I can honestly say 95% of the people want to keep the block bidder list. Okay? Excuse me. We all wrote in with our concerns, and I wrote in and I stated the following. I said, years ago, before I list in the buy it now fixed price category, I used to list in auctions. And I would get a lot of people who wouldn't pay. They'd do a buy it now, or they'd be the winning bidder, and you'd never hear from them again. They're gone. So what I would do is I would block them so they could never do it to me again. And I think that is a fair and reasonable thing to do. But this particular gentleman said to me, he said, Joseph, because he responded to my comment, he said, by blocking those particular non-paying bidders, did it have any effect on your overall amount of non-paying bidders? Did your non-paying bidder amount go down in any way? And of course the answer to that was no. By blocking one person, you're only affecting the one person. What actually stopped my problem of non-paying bidders was accepting PayPal and requiring immediate payment. But basically what the gentleman was trying to say is that even in my case, the case I just presented to you, he does not feel that I should block those non-paying bidders. He says, in his humble opinion, he doesn't think anybody should be blocked. Now, of course, a lot of other people wrote in with their stories. One person even wrote in and said, if eBay took away the block bidder list, that this particular person, who's a top-rated seller, would consider leaving eBay altogether. What do you guys think about blocking people and the block bidder list? Do you guys use it? Do you block people? And if so, what criteria do you use to block a person? For instance, as I said, back in the old days, if I got a non-paying bidder, they were blocked. And I'm not bashful about saying it, because like the old saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Anyone that didn't pay me got blocked. I'd like to know what reasons you guys have had for blocking people, and do you continue to block people? Also, could you tell me if eBay ever did make the drastic move and eliminate the block bidder list, how would that affect you personally? Would it upset you? I can't see why they would do this. I really would like to see them increase seller protection. Seller protection really needs a lot of work. I would love to see eBay expand its customer service and talk to us one-on-one about our problems. Each case is different and unique. A lot of you good people have written in about feedback extortion, where people have threatened to neg you if you didn't give them back $5 or $10 or whatever it was in the case. And if a person comes right out and says that, eBay will back you on that. I found that out myself, which is a plus. But suppose a person doesn't come right out and say that. For example, remember a few weeks ago on a video I told you this story how I sold somebody a scratched hubcap. He got it and he was unhappy and he said, Joe, I'm sending you that hubcap back and I'm going to leave you the appropriate feedback. His exact words. Now, to me that says, Joe, I'm going to neg you. So I contacted him. First I talked to a few friends of mine in the group and got their opinion. And I contacted him and I said, how about if I exchange it for you? I send you a better quality one, which I would charge more money for instead. The guy said, okay, I'd be agreeable to that. So I went ahead and I sent him the better quality one. Okay? To save a neg. Anything to avoid a neg. So guess what? I haven't heard from him. Not a peep. What does that mean? Alright, he didn't leave me positive feedback, but he didn't neg me either. But one more thing. He never sent back the cap he claimed was too scratched. I think I've been dicked over. Guys, I mean, there's nothing I can do in this case. If I write to him and say, are you happy with the better cap that I send you? Where's the other one? You know what he's going to say? He's going to say something like, well, why should I have to pay you to send it back? You know? Or he may threaten me. I don't know what he's going to do. So in this case, maybe silence is golden. Guys, I am all for selling on eBay. I love it. We can sell things on eBay that we cannot sell on Amazon. Amazon doesn't want us if you're selling used stuff. You know? We're like the child nobody wants. And eBay has welcomed us. And we do well there. But there are some buyers, a very small percentage, that unfortunately know how sellers are treated. And they know they can bully us to a point. And they're right. They're right. Thankfully, it's a small percentage of them. And it doesn't happen to me all that often. I do get the returns because people don't read. But usually they're understanding. You know, they'll say, well, I didn't read. I thought I was getting 4. You know? It seems to me that this problem only happens in eBay Motors. I haven't had any of you guys write in about the quantity auctions where your customers thought they were getting 4 and you sent them only 1. However, I have had quite a few people write in and say people didn't like the color of their item or the size of the item or the material, you know? So guys, basically, comments below on the following topics. Number 1, do you block people on eBay now that have given you trouble or that you suspect will give you trouble? And if eBay ever did do away with the block bidder list, how do you think that would affect you and how would you react to that? This is really important because right now it's in the early talking stages, but the fact that he would even mention it concerns me. Okay? I think that's a valuable tool that we have. Okay? The block bidder list. We don't have very many valuable tools, but that's one of them, and I'd really like to hang on to it. What's your opinion on that? Also, if you care to talk about the issue I brought up at the very beginning of the video, wrong way drivers under the influence. And I'm saying under the influence because, guys, I cannot fathom anybody getting onto the interstate heading the wrong way with all these traffic lights coming at them. Headlights. With all these headlights coming at them. I just can't fathom it. You know? It's scary, and it's happened way too many times to me. I've never been struck because I'm a pretty alert driver, but I've seen bad things happen. And I'd like your opinion on that. So basically, that's it right now, guys. I'd like to thank you for watching. It is 4:02. By the time I get home later and get this uploaded, I figure maybe 8 o'clock or so I should be putting this out. I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Thanks for watching. Comments below. And if you have a particular eBay issue you want discussed next week, very important, mention it. Either in the comments or PM me directly. Okay? Thank you guys. Rock on. sell some stuff on eBay tonight.